This video is about applying the Pythagorean theorem in finding unknown lengths on right triangles. Now this example, it says a tree is supported by a wire anchored in the ground 9 feet from its base. The wire is 1 foot longer than the height it reaches on the tree. Find the length of the wire. Whenever you are given a word problem, always use a diagram to represent what it is saying. Okay? So, vertical always meet horizontal at right angle. So if it talks about a tree meeting the ground, the tree will meet the ground at right angle. Or a building will meet the ground at right angle. Or a person standing on the ground, the person on the ground will meet at right angle. Okay? So, here's your diagram. So this is the tree, this is the ground. So they will meet at right angle there. Okay? Also, if it talks about a wire anchoring something, the length of the wire will represent the hypotenuse of the right triangle. Or if a ladder is leaning against a wall, or leaning against a tree, or leaning against something, the length of the ladder will represent the hypotenuse of the right triangle. Okay? Or if it is a ramp to go in a building, the slope of the ramp, that will always be the hypotenuse of your right triangle. Okay? So here's your wire. Alright? So this is your diagram. Now, let's see what the question is actually saying. It says, a tree is supported by a wire anchored in the ground. So here's the ground. This is where the wire is anchored in the ground. 9 feet from the base. So it is from the base of the tree. So right here would be 9. Okay? The wire is 1 foot longer than the height it reaches up. This is the height that it reaches up. They did not tell us what the height is, but they say that the wire is 1 foot longer. So we could call this height x. And if the wire is 1 foot longer, it has to be this length plus 1. So here would be x plus 1. And this would be your diagram. Okay? Now they ask us to find the length of the wire. In finding the length of the wire, we're going to apply our Pythagorean theorem. Okay? Because this is a right triangle. Always remember that the length across from your right angle, that is your hypotenuse, which is the same as your C. Okay? Then I can call one of the other sides A and the other side B. Alright? Your Pythagorean theorem states it is A squared plus B squared equals C squared. So I'm going to plug these values in this thing now. Okay? So where A is, I put my A value, so that is x squared, plus where B is, I put my B value, which is 9 squared, equals where C is, I put my C value, which is x plus 1 squared. And remember that something squared means the thing times itself. So x squared, that remains x squared. 9 squared, that is 81. And I can rewrite this part as x plus 1 times x plus 1. Okay? Because something squared means the thing times itself. So this would give me x squared plus 81 equal, let's distribute this thing, x times x, that is x squared, x times 1, that is x, 1 times x, that is x, and 1 times 1, that is 1. Okay? So x squared plus 81 equals x squared. These two, those are our like terms. So that is x plus x, that is 2x, plus my 1. Now, I want all my x squares to be on one side. So I could subtract this x squared, and I would subtract it here as well to maintain the balance. Okay? So this would cancel, and this would cancel as well. So I would have 81 equals 2x plus 1. Okay? Now, in solving this, let's take it over here. So what we have is, what we have is 81 equals 2x plus 1. Now we would subtract 1 from both sides, and that would give us, this would cancel, so 81 minus 1, that would be 80 equals 2x, and then we divide both sides by 2, so 40 equals x. Now that is the value of x, but look at what they asked us for. They say find the length of the wire. this is the wire. Okay, so therefore the wire, the length of the wire, would be x plus 1. But remember that x is 40. So that would be 40 plus 1, which is 41. 41, what is the unit? Feet? Yes. So that would be 41 feet. That would be your answer here. Okay? Alright, let's look at a second example. And this example is a little bit more, it demands a little bit more thinking, a little bit more reasoning. Alright, it says the length of the hypotenuse of a right triangle is 3 inches more than twice the length of the shorter leg. The longer leg is 7 inches longer than the shorter leg. Find the length of the longer leg. Again, we're going to draw a diagram to represent this thing. So, it says it's a right triangle. Okay? It's a right triangle. So, here's a right triangle. This is our right triangle. Now, this is the hypotenuse. This is the short leg. This is the long leg. Alright. So, it says that the hypotenuse of a right triangle is 3 inches more. So, when you hear about more, that is plus 3. Alright? More than twice the length of the shorter leg. Twice something means 2 times. Now, the hypotenuse was compared to the shorter leg. Now, because we don't know what the shorter leg is, we're going to call the shorter leg x. So, I call this part here x. Alright? So, it says that the hypotenuse is 3 inches more than twice. So, twice this length would be 2x plus 3, because it said 3 more than twice this length. Okay? The longer leg is 7 inches longer than the shorter leg. So, this longer leg must be this length plus 7. So, it would be x plus 7. And this would be your diagram. Okay? And it says, find the length of the longer leg. Now, in finding the length of the longer leg, let's write this on a separate sheet of paper. So, in finding the length of the longer leg, what we would have, again, we're going to apply the Pythagorean theorem. So, remember that any side that is across from your right angle, that is your C. That's your hypotenuse. Okay? And I can call one of the other sides A and the other side B. So, the Pythagorean theorem says A squared plus B squared equals C squared. So, where A is, I put my value, so that would be x squared, plus where B is, I put my value, that would be x plus 7 squared, equals where C is, I put my value, which is 2x plus 3, and I square that. Now, x squared, that is just x squared. Again, I can rewrite this part as x plus 7 times x plus 7 equals, I can rewrite this part as 2x plus 3 times 2x plus 3. Okay? Just to prevent mistakes being made. Okay, so this is x squared plus, I can distribute this thing, and I can distribute this thing as well. So x times x, that is x squared, x times 7, that is 7x, 7 times x, that is 7x, 7 times 7, that is 49. 2x times 2x, that is 4x squared, 2x times 3, that is 6x, 3 times 2x, that is 6x, and 3 times 3, that is 9. Okay? So these two, those are like terms. X squared plus x squared, that is 2x squared. These two, those are like terms as well. 7x plus 7x, that is 14x, plus my 49 equals 4x squared. These two, they are the like terms. So 6x plus 6x, that is 12x, plus my 9x. Alright, so I want all my x squares to be on one side. So of course, I could go ahead and subtract 4x squared from both sides. Okay, so that would cancel. So this would give me 2x squared minus 4x squared, that is negative 2x squared, plus 14x plus 49 equals 12x plus 9. Alright, now I'm trying to get all of these on this side. Okay, so I'll go ahead and subtract 12x from both sides as well, but I can only take x from x, so that part cancels. So this would be negative 2x squared plus 2x, because 14x minus 12x, that's 2x, plus 49 equals 9. Now I need to get rid of this 9, so I subtract 9 from both sides. So this would give me negative 2x squared plus 2x. 49 minus 9, that would be plus 40 equals 0. Okay? Now, to continue with this, now, I want to factor this. I want to factor that. Now, if I write this thing, ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0, and I match it to this thing that I have here, negative 2x squared plus 2x plus 40 equals 0, I can clearly see that my a value would be negative 2, my b value would be 2, and my c value would be 40. Okay? So now I know that a equals negative 2, b equals 2, and c equals 40. Alright, so I can go to my AC method. Alright, so my AC method of factoring says a times c. That's what AC means. So it is a, which is negative 2, times c, which is 40. Okay, and that will give me negative 80. Now, I want to find the factors of this negative 80 that will add. When I add them, I'll get positive 2. So once your factor is negative, one is going to be negative, one is going to be positive, because only negative times positive give you a negative. Okay, so I can use, and because my b value here is positive, it means that my larger factor must be positive. So I can use 10 times negative 8. 10 times negative 8 will still give me negative 80, which is this. But if I add them, 10 plus negative 8, that will give me 2. And this 2 is this part. Okay? So I'm going to use these to replace my b value. But remember, these are x's. Okay? So I can rewrite this as negative 2x squared. So my first term will remain the same here, but I'll replace my middle term, which is 2x, with this here. But these are x's. So it would be plus 10x minus 8x. It's plus 10x minus 8x, still plus my 40, equals 0. And then I group my first two. So I have negative 2x squared. These first two terms, I group them, plus 10x plus negative 8x plus 40 equals 0. Okay, my greatest common factor here would be negative 2x. Negative 2x squared divided by negative 2x, that is just x. Positive 10x divided by negative 2x, that would be negative 5. Okay, my greatest common factor here is negative 8. And negative 8x divided by negative 8, that is x. Positive 40 divided by negative 8, that is negative 5, equals 0. Okay, let's take it up here now. So my factors would be, you see my parentheses are the same, so that would be one of my factors. That would be x minus 5. And the other factor would be when I group these two things outside the parentheses. So that would be negative 2x minus 8, and that is equal to 0. So I'm going to equate each factor to 0 and solve. So I'll have x minus 5 equals 0. That is one factor, and my other factor is negative 2x minus 8, and that equals to 0. So I add 5 to both sides, so x equals 5. And then I would add 8 to both sides, so negative 2x equals 8. And I divide both sides by negative 2, so x equals negative 4. Now remember that we're talking about a distance. Okay, we're talking about a distance. You cannot have a negative distance. Okay, if I use my negative 4 here, it means that this would be negative 4. You can't have a negative distance. So we're not going to use this one here. We're going to use a positive part of it. Okay, so they asked us to find the length of the longer side. This is the longer side. So the longer side is expressed as x plus 7. So it is x plus 7, but our x in this case is 5. So it would be 5. So 5 plus 7, that is 12. And the unit is inches, so it would be 12 inches. Okay? And that's how you work questions like these. Have a great day.